Hi, When Creativity Knocks is here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we have been having a great time here at the Southern Women's Show. And I love the South. I love you ladies. We've been having such a wonderful time, and this is the first time for When Creativity Knocks in the South, and you've all shown us your Southern hospitality. And today we're going to do an episode with Judi, my favorite Judi from JudiKins. And Judi's going to show us how to make a great Christmas card. So get ready. This is really simple. Back to the basics. We were talking about this.
Yes.
And we're saying, what did we like the best that turned us on?
The best thing about this card and the best thing that turned me on to rubber stamping was embossing and masking.
I know. I love embossing. How many's embossed before? Oh, I have people at home. We have a studio audience. You guys clap so I can hear you. Yay! There we are. I have nobody's embossed. One embosser? You have? This will be great. You're going to be so excited. So at home, if you've never embossed before, you're going to definitely. This is what really got us excited first about stamping. It's magic. So I'm going to let you take it away, Judi, and show us the magic.
All right. Now this card that I have here, actually, it was inspired by something that I used to have as a kid, which was called a fold-a-note, and it is a big sheet here. But you can see that you can write your little notes in here, fold it up, put a little sticker on it, address it, postage stamp, and then you're all set. It goes in the mail, and one thing, no envelopes, easy, fast.
So that's really great for people who like to write the Christmas letters or put a photograph. They could glue a photo in the center and give them a little bit more room than a regular traditional card.
And we have this rubber stamp here that says, you all have different stamps that have different greetings, but this one says Happy Holidays, and that's going to be stamped in the center of this folded note.
Oh, on the inside, great. Okay.
And then you can write your message all around the outside as well. So, shall we get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to start with a full sheet of paper that has been cut down to 5.5 inches.
Okay, 5.5.
This is 8.5 inches, or 11 inches this way.
Okay, 11, so you're just going to slice a little bit off the paper.
Right, you slice 3 inches off the edge of the paper.
Okay.
Then what I did was I scored the card here at about 3.5 inches, and then I left about 4 inches here, 4.5.
In scoring, for people who don't know about scoring, you take a little stylus and you line up your ruler, and this stylus has a little ball on it, and you just press it on the paper, and it gives you that fold mark. So you see a card that's actually folded, you could use it, and it makes it a lot easier.
And this makes it easier for you to fold it. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create the mask to create the box here where you're going to put the address. And what you do is, this is an Eclipse sheet, and Eclipse tape, which is also in a sheet form, is a really lightweight adhesive on a piece of paper.
Okay.
So the brown here is the release paper, just so that you kind of know. And what we're going to do is we're going to tear this to give it kind of this wiggly edge. So I'm going to tear my mask.
Okay.
And if you want, you can kind of tear the whole thing so it's uniform.
And don't worry about it. You don't need to be precise with this. You can kind of just, it's really freehand, because we were talking a lot about this project beforehand, and so people have a hard time tearing their paper. Just tear and have a good time. And
don't worry about it having straight edges or anything like that, because the whole purpose is you want it kind of wiggly.
Yeah.
Okay, lay it in the center of your card here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp all of these snowflakes around. And that'll create the white. When we peel off the mask, it'll be white underneath. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a color. And I've got this kind of salvia blue color. And I'm going to take my stamp, tap in, and I'm going to stamp all over the card.
And really what Judi's doing right now is she's building up the ink on the pad. By going more than one time, you're building the ink on the pad.
And you can
you're building the ink on the stamp, not on the pad.
That's okay. So here we go. We've got lots of snowflakes. You want to stamp off the edges of the card a little bit. And you also want to stamp around that mask. So then I'm going to go to the next snowflake here. Now this is kind of a fun stamp because there's 4
I like that. You
rubber
get a lot.
stamps
You get
on
a lot of
and you know, with
images.
snowflakes, there's bazillions. Oh, excuse me. We should probably change colors too. So I'm going to change to the green here. And you know, with snowflakes, there's millions and billions of different snowflakes, and all of them are different. And I think your whole house would be full of rubber stamps if you had a rubber stamp of
for every
each
snowflake.
different snowflake. But we'll change. I'm changing the design. I'm going to change the color here. And you notice I'm using different different sizes, different colors.
And you don't. You can
designs.
see how free-form that Judi's being. You don't have to be precise on this. It's just go for it.
And the other thing that sometimes what happens is you pick up the edge of the rubber. Don't let that worry you, because you can always come back over with a different stamp. This is another snowflake, and or snowflake cube, and there's 4 different images of snowflakes here. And so I'm going to use the little purpley one, and that area where I've got the little boo-boo, I just cover it up.
Oh, gotcha.
And the funny thing is, when you're stamping around this edge, make sure you don't stamp just on the mask. You want to stamp off the edge as well. And you'll see once we're finished why that's important. So I just keep stamping all of these snowflakes. All right, and anything missing? I think I want a little more green. So I'm going to pick up the green here, change my design. Oh, I like that. That looks good.
Yeah, that's a good snowflake.
And I'm looking around the edge of my mask just to make sure that I've covered.
Yeah, a little spot there.
Anything else that you see?
Maybe one more right there.
There.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that looks really good.
Looks good.
Cover up my ink pads. And now I'm going to peel off the mask here. And you can see how it's left this open area.
That.
Now, if you find that there's a couple of areas where you haven't gotten enough stamping, just cover it back up and then come over with one other, stamp it one more time.
Judi, how many times can you reuse this mask?
Oh, you could reuse this mask at least, depending on how much ink you get on there, I would say you can use it at least 4 or 5 times.
Oh, that's right. So you want to keep the backing and just put it back on the backing then? Okay,
exactly,
great.
Exactly. Or, well, I kind of crumpled mine up, but you can definitely do that. Or you can actually put it on the back of a stamp.
Oh, that you're using to make the card so you don't forget. Okay, great.
Okay, so I've got the outline here of where the address is going to go. And then the next thing is I'm going to fold my card. So I'm going to fold on those score lines. And now I want to stamp my tree.
Okay, so let's take a little break, and then we're going to get ready to do the embossing.
Okay.
For our next step, we're going to learn how to emboss, and this is the magic. Not that the masking wasn't magic, but this is really exciting.
It's a lot of fun. So what you're going to do is, now we've got this kind of snowy Christmas tree here, and I want to use some silver embossing powder so it kind of looks like a real snowy tree.
For the beginners, since we have a lot of beginners today, can you tell us what embossing powder is?
Oh, yeah. Embossing powder it's a plastic powder that it sticks to the wet ink. And what's great about it is it's kind of like glitter on a card, or when you put the glue on the card and then you pour the glitter on, you shake off the excess and the glitter sticks to the glue. And the embossing powder sticks to the wet ink like glue.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So I'm going to take my stamp here and I'm going to ink it up with this ink pad. Now this is a special ink pad for embossing, and it has a light pink hint to it so that I can kind of see it when I stamp it. And I'm going to stamp it, even though there's a little the edge of the flap here, I'm going to stamp right over that and off to the side, not quite on center. And press down. And then what I'm going to do is take my embossing powder and I'm going to pour the powder right over the stamp design. And you notice I'm using a ton of powder. Usually at this point people kind of freak out, like, why do you use so much?
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Don't worry, because I shake off the excess and you can see my tree here. And then I'm going to put the rest of the powder back in my container.
That's so great. We didn't used to have these containers back in the old days. This is wonderful. You guys have come up with this container.
It's really nice because it's got a little funnel on it, so it helps you to pour the powder back into the jar. Now what I'm going to do is emboss this. So I take out my heat gun.
Here's the magic, girls.
And we're going to turn this on. And you just hold the heat over the powder, and that's going to melt the powder.
Can you see it? You can see it happening right now on the camera. It's actually turning silver with a little bit of glitter. And once it turns like that, just move on. Don't keep it there. You just want to just, there you go. Oh, that is gorgeous. I forgot how much I loved embossing.
Isn't
it's so beautiful.
Fun? So then, once you're finished with that, you're almost done with your card. Then
and it takes just a couple seconds to cool.
Exactly, it takes a couple of seconds to cool. And then what I'm going to do is I've got this sticker here. So you take your design, and I'm going to stamp it on a scratch piece of paper here so I don't. And just kind of hover it over the circle, press down, and there's my snowflake. And then this is how I would seal the card. Okay. But we do have to stamp the inside first.
But before we stamp, I want to talk just a little bit more about embossing.
Oh, yes.
Judy's using an embossing gun. You cannot use your hairdryer at home. People always ask, oh, I'll use my hairdryer. You want to use an embossing heat tool. It's designed just for embossing. And I do want you to notice, the best way to tell when you're embossing, can you see how it's shiny?
Yes.
If there's any matte looking where it's a little not
kind
shiny, dull there, thank
right.
you, then that means you need to hit it again with your heat gun, because if you don't, you're going to touch it and it's going to rub off. But right now you can see I could do this and there's nothing there.
And you notice all the sparkles coming through, so that part of it, yes, it's all melted and adhered to the paper now.
So our next step, we're going to break and we're going to do the inside. For our last step, Judy is going to show us how to stamp on the inside.
So all you do is you just open up your card and take your greeting, and depending on where you want this to
if you're going to do a note, you'd want it up here,
right.
But if you're just doing the greeting in the center.
And I think I'm going to just have this as the greeting. So I just ink up my stamp.
And when you're doing a big stamp, if you notice how Judy did it on big stamps, we always turn them upside down and build the ink up from the top so you can see what you're doing.
And then you just kind of hover your stamp approximately where you want to stamp it, and then press down. No rocking.
No
if you
rocking.
rock it, you'll pick up some of the edges. So press straight down and off, and there you go.
Yay, look at that. It's great. I really like that. It looks really, really good. And now you're going to write your greeting.
Then you write your greeting.
To Cindy Bison in North Carolina. And then we're going to mail this off to her.
Fold it up, and then you're going to address in this white part, put your postage stamp on there, and you are all set and ready
Judy,
to go.
this was so great. Did you guys all like to learn how to emboss today? Is that really cool? Well, Judy, thank you so much.
You're
and you know what we say? When creativity knocks, open the door.